Hi guys, I'm Tolade once again, and you're welcome back to my video. All right, so in this video, I'm going to be walking you through data types with Python, so as to give you a good understanding of data types and their use cases. Right, I'll be looking at the key data types, like the basic data types, like for example, like the string. We'll look at the strings. We'll look at we'll look at dictionaries, we'll look at lists, and a couple of others. All right. So, all right. Now I'm using the Jupyter note. I'm using the Google Colab rather, which is similar to the Jupyter notebook. They're very similar, and it's basically an environment for machine learning and data science online. So it's a very good environment which you can always try to just check out Google, Colab.research at Google, so you can check this out and follow me in total. All right, so let's just move on. So, for example, let's say now, as you can see here, we have a string. Now, strings is a data type in Python. Now, how do we connote or how do we denote our strings, right? For example, if I say if I represent something, if I say boy, I decide to put boy in this quotation mark. Okay, let me move this up. Now, if I decide to put this boy in a quotation mark, it means that what? It means that, let me put this here. Yeah, it means that this is basically a string because it's in a quotation mark, right? So if I say boy, now if I say data one is equals to boy, that's a quote. And if I run this, basically I just run my program, my statement, right? So this is data, and if I want to fetch my data one, I can easily fetch it. Basically it's a boy, right? It's a string. Now in Python, either of the quotation marks work, so it can be double or single, and it's still going to work, right? So Python doesn't, yeah, SQL doesn't allow, like Postgres doesn't allow that, but Python it's Python. For Python it's okay. You can be flexible with Python either by using the double quotation mark or by using a single quotation mark, so they both work. All right, so this is how strings are basically represented. So normally in Python we also have for example, if I say, let me say data one again. Okay, if I say that now, if you check this out, this is not a way to type out a variable. um in the variable naming convention, it's not advisable. It's not going to work like this. You're going to get an error, so you have to put it together. If I put the number or any character, it has to be together, right? Or you can use an underscore if need be. All right, so let's say data one is equals to 2. Now this 2 basically is a numeric type of data, right? And it's a number, it has to do with numbers, right? So if I say I can come here to say what would my data one be, so I can run this. Okay, so you can see that it's not printing anything for me because I'm not requesting a variable name. So yeah, in this new cell I'm requesting it, so you can see it's 2. So basically that's a numeric type, and also this is basically an integer. That's why we have it as int. So let's say we have a float. Floats are, we have a decimal point. So let's run this. Okay, then let's update this. So you can see we have 2.3. So I mean, this goes on and so on and so forth, like, basically for that. So let's look at a list. Let's talk about a list. What is a list? For example, I can store some informations in a list. For example, I can decide to say my bracket. I can decide my square bracket. I can say 1, 2, 3, and I can decide to run this here, and I decide to run this as well. So now it's printing out the content of the list, right? The list is 1, 2, 3. So as you go along, you can move across the list, based on their indexes. You can move across the list, so that's possible. But that's not, I mean, that is a step-by-step approach, right? So in this class, I'm just going to cover the basic things that you should understand about the types of data types in Python, for example, as the case might be. All right, so this is another example, and for list, I can decide to now, these are all numeric data types. Let me Control Z. These are basically all numeric data types. What if I want to have something else. I want to have a string, and I put boy here. Is that gonna work? So let's do this. You can see that the boy appears here. So I can store other information. I can decide to say true. Basically, true here means is my Boolean type of data, data type. Okay, so you can see true appears here. And the same thing, so I can decide to change this to false. All right, so let's run this code. Okay, if I run this code, I'm going to have false. So you can see that false is here, right? So it's basically recognizing this particular type of data type, in this variable. All right, and don't forget that these are variables. When we say variables in Python, or basically we mean variables are when you define a statement. I can say this. I can say I can use A is equals to 1. For example, I can say B is equals to 3, and I can say C is equals to maybe A, no, oh, sorry, I think I mistakenly clicked on that. So I can come here to say, so you can see that it tells you this is an invalid syntax, right? That's because I'm not yet true. Python basically, so this gives you an error. This is where we come to debugging your code, finding out where the error is. But let's just continue. I can say A is equals C rather is equals to A times B. And I can now say print, no, the next line, print C. Okay, let's run this and let's see what we're gonna get. Cool. So we say now 1 times 3 is what? Is 3. So that's basically what we have here in this particular statement. So these are variables. This is variable 1, variable A, variable B, variable C. What if I want to use plus here? Let's run this. Let's see. Cool. So I have 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. So basically these are they're called operators, arithmetic operations, or operators in Python. All right. So I'm able to explain to you what is known as list. I've explained to you what is known as. I think I've explained variables. Variables are not data types. I just need to explain that to you so you can have a good understanding of what I'm talking about. I've explained to you the numeric data type. Yeah. I'm gonna put data type here as well so you don't get confused. You don't mix it up. I'm just gonna remove this from here and put this somewhere here. So I hope you're able to follow me. All right. Don't forget to follow. Click on the follow button. All right. So let's move on. Okay. So I've been able to define my variables here, from A to C, as you can see on the screen. Okay. So what next should we look at? All right. So let's move on. All right. So now, let's look at the dictionary. Now, the dictionary is another type of data type, right? Um, I think I have something here. Okay, no. So let's say data one. Okay, data one is equals to now dictionaries are basically they store information basically in key and a pair. Now, for example, let's say now my curly bracket, let's say I have maybe location. Now I'm going to put this in a string, location. I'm going to use my semicolon, no, my colon rather. I'm going to say location. I'll say this is Nigeria. And I'll say, for example, I have another key. I say 1 year. I put my colon again, and I might say the year is 2023. Now, what can you notice here? You notice. Let me zoom into this. Yeah, cool. All right, I hope you can see this very well. So you notice that I have my first um my first word here, which is called location, and this is Nigeria, and I have year, and this is 2023, right? Now, if you notice this is basically a numeric value or a numeric data, and this is our text, basically strings inside my dictionary. So can you see that? So let's now run this data. Okay, let's go one. Let's run this. Right. But basically, let's say we want to use a print statement rather than do this. So you can see that you have the values out. All right. So we have similar values out. All right, now something is very important that you should take note of. Initially, we define data one, right? So let's say we have something like this: data underscore one is equals to 3. All right. So basically, if data one is equals to 3, okay, let's just run this print um print data one. So let's run this shift enter. Now we have 3, right? Basically, that's because it's 3. Now, data one variable here, I pass a numeric value, a numeric, kind of data, and it says it's 3, right? Which is basically 3. Now, I use the same variable, the same variable name, in the next cell, and I run it. Now it's supposed to tell me that this is true, right? But no. So the way Python works is that Python follows the sequence. It follows the next it follows like let's say you have a stairs from A to Z. It follows it accordingly, right? It's gonna run it's gonna interpret run the last statement for you in your program. So as you can see that location here is a bit different sorry, rather, the data one variable here is different from data underscore one variable here. That's because we're able to update this data one with this additional information. All right, so are you following me? So basically I'm trying to explain to you some how data types works. We've looked at a bit of we looked at strings, integers. I think we looked at floats, complex. We also have complex numbers from mathematics, secondary school mathematics. We have list, we have tuple, we have range. For tuple, for example, I can say just a second. I think there's let me explain the tuple. I can come here to say data one is equals to I put my bracket, put this, I put yeah, all right. So no, let me run this. Okay, data one. All right. So one very key thing to denote them is when you see this bracket as the call bracket. When you see this bracket, they represent tuples, right? They represent tuples. Basically they represent tuples. Now, when you see a square bracket, let's run this somewhere up here. For example, if I say data one is equals to put my square bracket and I say 1, 2, 3. And I say data underscore one and I run this. Now this is my list. It has a square bracket at the size is a list. This is a tuple. You can see the bracket is different, right? And this is a dictionary, as you can see here. So they are very different. So please take note of that. Now, if you're writing a program, basically these are basic programs or basic statements. Now, if you're defining a statement and you want to get an information that you've previously used in a different data, I would advise you to use the same variable name. You might need to change this to maybe 2 or 1b or something else. That way you can differentiate the value. So let's say I run this tuple, I have data one here, and I run this. So I have, okay, so I'm going to run this again. Let's see. Okay, now, okay, you can see why I'm getting this error. That's because I didn't change my print. I didn't change the print. I'm going to update my print. And what I have here is, so you can see that this is quite different now. So basically, this is the key, that's the key steps, the key, vital steps on how your list works, how your tuple works. All right, and also there are also ways in which you can determine the as you can see here, there are ways in which you can determine the data type. So for example, if I want to I want to find out, okay, what is my data type for data, my variable name data underscore 1b. I'm just going to say I don't need to run this again because I already have my variable name here already. I'm just going to run this. I'm just going to say print. Yeah, I'm going to say print what? Now we've done this already before. I'm going to say no print type. Now what type you want to? You want to check out the type for this. I'm just going to copy. I need to type it again. So I'm going to print it. So it's telling me that this is a dictionary, and I can change this to let's move up to one. Here we have this here. Let's run this. Let's see what we get. So we have a top. It tells me the top. All right. Let's move ahead. Let's check out the list. So I'm going to say print type data underscore one. So I'm going to run this whole cell again with each of these statements. So it's going to tell me there's a list. So can you see? So it tells us how it tells us basically determine the type of data type in your in your program, for example. So let's run something else. Let's say I define a data called data2, for example, is equals to true. Let's say print. Okay, no, let's move print type data2. So let's run this. Oh no, there's a mistake somewhere. Yeah, so you can see that um it says name error and the true is not defined. So you can see we trace our error back. This is not defined. It's supposed to be true, not true. So you can see it says bool. All right. So that brings us back to this place where we have the boolean, and if I change this to false, it's still gonna tell me that it's a bool because they are both boolean. True or false are both boolean. So you can see this works. All right. I hope you've been able to enjoy this particular series or episode of my video on understanding Python for data science using Google Colab. I'd like you to subscribe, click on the link subscribe, and yeah, cheers. Thank you for watching.